Hi, my name is Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. This is the ratings and review tag. This is actually one of my favourite tags I think that I've done so far. This was created by Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, and I was kindly tagged by Michelle Lexi and also by Bob the Bookerer. I'm going to tag Booking with Debra, Alice in the Giant Bookshelf and Gem of Books. I'll link everyone's channel down below. The reason why I love this tag so much is it's actually made me realise some stuff about myself and my reading that I had never realised before. So, question 2, because question 1 was tags on people. Question 2 is, how do you know when you finished a good book? Is it a thinking or a feeling response? So for me, it's totally a feeling response. And this is really interesting because this never occurred to me before. I sometimes find it quite difficult, or I certainly have done in the past, to articulate why I like a book or why I don't like a book. And that seems like such a silly thing to say. But so in my reading group, for example, that I go to at the library, I've been going there for about 8 years, and certainly in the past I have found it difficult to talk about why I like or haven't liked a book. And I think this is why. I think it's because my response to books is so much a feeling response that I have to work quite hard to understand what the thinking behind the feeling is. And this is really interesting to me because I feel like in every other area of my life I'm a thinker, not a feeler, but for some reason it's different with books. On the MBTI, for example, I'm a T, not an F. So yeah, that's really interesting to me. Question number 3 is, when you begin to form your review or rating, what is the first question you ask yourself? So I think for me, the first question I ask myself is, did I enjoy the book? And if so, why? And if not, why not? I think that's the first question I ask myself, because I'm not here to do, literary criticism. I am just talking about the books that I read and, the books that I enjoy. So that's my sort of starting point, I think, when I think about what I want to say about the book. It's why I have enjoyed it or why I've not enjoyed it. Question 4 is interesting. This is, do you do star ratings and why or why not? So I do star ratings, but I don't routinely talk about my star ratings on my channel. And that was never a conscious decision. That's just how it's happened. And I think that's because for me, I don't really take much heed in other people's star ratings. I first started doing star ratings when I joined Goodreads like 5 years ago or whatever. And I did that because Goodreads told me to give the books that I had read a star rating. So I did that. And now I'm on Storygraph and I still do star ratings. But the reason I continue to do that and why I find it beneficial is because I have such terrible memory. It's a record for me as to how much I have enjoyed those books that I've read. So even though I might not necessarily remember anything about them, I've got a record of how much I like the book. And those star ratings mean something to me. So if I've given a book 4 stars, I know what that means. So say, for example, an author is bringing out a new book and I think, oh, I've read something by them before, but I can't remember what I thought of it. I can look up my rating and then that will inform my decision as to whether I want to read that new book by that author. Explain your star rating system. What does a good book get in your rating system? Okay, so a 5-star book for me is, for me to give a book 5 stars, it has to give me a certain feeling. And I don't know if this is the same for other people or if I'm just weird. But it's really hard to explain, and it's difficult to describe the difference between a 4 and a 5-star book, because it is just this feeling that I have to have inside. That means it's a 5-star book. A 4-star book still means I really, really liked it, and I would say I would probably use language like I loved it to talk about a 4-star book. A 4-star book, there's probably nothing negative that I would pick out about it. It just hasn't given me the 5-star feeling. A 3-star book is still a thumbs up. 3 stars means I liked it, I'd recommend it. 3 stars is a good rating. You know, there may be, I guess, the difference between a 3 and a 4-star book. A 3-star, there may be something I haven't quite got on with, or I've just not like loved it, but I've certainly liked it. A 4-star rating, I would actively seek out more books by that author. A 3-star, like I might not be so quick to seek out more books by that author, but a 3-star I would definitely read more by them. And then a 2-star for me is sort of like a middle ground, a bit like, a 2-star means I wasn't that keen on it. It can mean it was just okay, not great, probably wouldn't recommend it. But you see, again, and this links into a later question, there might be people that I would recommend a book I've given 2 stars to, because I might know that it might be their taste and it's just not my taste. Anyway, and then a 1-star book is a definite thumbs down, and I don't give a lot of 1 stars because I DNF quite a lot. So usually, if I'm really not liking a book at all, I'll usually DNF it before the point I finish it and then give it a 1 star, if that makes sense. So I don't have that many 1-star books. Okay, is your star rating consistent? Are all your 5 stars better than all your 4-star books? So my star rating is consistent for me because I do my star ratings based on my enjoyment, so that is consistent to me. Are all your 5-star books better than all your 4-star books? And it depends what you mean by better. It means I've enjoyed them more if I've given them 5 stars and not 4 stars. It means they've given me that 5-star feeling. But if you're trying to look at it objectively, if that's even possible to do, there might be a book I've given 4 stars. So let's say, for example, I've given a crime thriller 4 stars, and then I've given a literary fiction 3 stars. Okay, so I've enjoyed this one more because I've given it 4 stars. But if I was trying to look at it objectively and analyse, I don't know, the literary merit of both books, it may well be that I might say, yeah, okay, I can see that this one is a better book if we're trying to talk about it objectively. But that's not how I do my ratings. Because my ratings, I don't routinely talk about them, I'm not thinking about my ratings being beneficial for other people. And to be honest, it's never occurred to me that they could be beneficial for other people. My ratings are very personal, and I do my ratings for my own benefit, basically. Question 5. Do you believe every book has its perfect reader? Does this contradict the idea that a book can be bad? So, generally speaking, I think the vast majority of books have a readership because someone's decided to publish them. So even though it might be a very small readership, there is an audience for that book. I think it was Fraser Simons, whose channel I'll link down below, who said this, and it was something along the lines of, a book's bad when it doesn't achieve what it sets out to achieve. And for me, I think that sums it up. That's probably means it's a bad book. Question 6. What book that you hated have you recommended? So I don't think I've ever recommended a book that I've hated. I may have, particularly in my reading group, I might recommend a book to someone that I might have given 2 or 3 stars. But I'll say to them, I think you'd like this book, because I know their taste, and likewise they might recommend a book to me that they've thought wasn't to their taste, but they think I might like it. But no, I don't think I've ever recommended a book that I've hated. That would be very unusual. Question 7. What makes a book good, bad or great by your evaluation? So for me, a great book is one that I want to keep reading. I want to pick it up. I want to tell other people about it. I want to recommend it to lots of people. I'm enthusiastic in talking about it. One good sign of a great book is while I'm reading it, or after just having read it, I know that I want to reread it in future and revisit it in future. That's also the sign of a great book for me. And then by comparison, what makes a book bad? There are two kind of situations in which I know I need to DNF a book. And the first is when I just have no desire to pick it up and read it. And the second is when I want to throw the book across the room. So those are the 2 points at which I will DNF books. Question 8. When evaluating the quality of a book, do you have specific criteria or aspects of the book, such as character development, that you consider? Does this change if you're writing an in-depth review versus just thinking about the book for enjoyment? So I don't do in-depth reviews, like I say. I'm just talking about the books that I'm reading, so that's slightly irrelevant for me. But in terms of what aspects of the book I think about, I think there are certain things. I don't necessarily go through all these things for every book that I read, but things that I will usually consider are plot, characters, writing, setting, structure, narrative voice, so for certain genres, some of those things might be more important to me. So if we're thinking about mystery or crime, I'm more likely to be focused on the plot. If it's literary fiction, I'm probably more likely to be looking at the writing and the characters. And so in my reviews, I'll probably focus on either those aspects in the book which I think have been done particularly well, or, in my opinion, badly. So anything that's sort of notable in any of those areas is probably what I would talk about in my reviews, I think. Question 9 is interesting. So question 9 is, do you consider star ratings or average ratings when choosing books to read or add to your TBR? So no, I don't, and it never occurred to me that people did that, which I know sounds a silly thing to say. No, so okay, so I can understand how knowing what one person's star rating is might be helpful to you. So if you're watching a booktuber, you know their taste and how it aligns with yours, and they've given a book 4 stars. So you think, okay, I'm going to read that book. Like, I can understand the logic of that. But average ratings, like, I don't know how it helps you knowing that 6,000 people on Goodreads have rated a book 3.4 stars. How does that tell you anything? It never occurred to me that people paid attention to that, but of course they did, because that's why the average rating is there. But I know, I've never taken any notice of that. I don't consider star ratings at all when choosing books. I need to know very little in order to add a book to my TBR. So it might be just one person doing a review on BookTube, but it might not even be that. I don't even need to listen to a review. It might just be, I don't know, like a publisher's newsletter or something. If there's something about the book that I think, that sounds interesting, or I might want to read that book, I'll add it to my list. And if I can get it out of the library, I'll get it out of the library and give it a go, because that's fine, because I'll happily DNF books. So I'd rather have a wide net and give a lot of books a go and DNF a load of them, but find some like treasures along the way. I really don't need to know very much about a book for it to be added to my list, and I don't pay any attention to star ratings. I think people's star ratings are, well, I don't know, fairly unique, aren't they? Like, I feel like I'm probably a harsher star rating than other people. Like, I feel like if I say I'll give this book 3 stars, people might think, oh, that means I didn't really like it, but it definitely means I liked it if I gave it 3 stars. So yeah, I don't pay any attention to other people's star ratings. And then the final 2 questions I think I'm going to sort of answer together. So question 10 is, who on BookTube does reliable and interesting reviews of books that you know you can use to decide if a book is for you or not? What makes their reviews so good? And then question 11 is, do those booktubers use different language than you to evaluate and review the overall quality of a book? So in terms of who on BookTube does reliable and interesting reviews of books, I mean, everyone that I subscribe to on BookTube, I get recommendations from. That's why I subscribe to them. But when I was first tagged in this tag, which was towards the end of last year, what I did was I looked through my phone, because what I do, and I'm assuming we all do this, is take screenshots of books that I want to read. So my phone is full of like YouTubers mid-sentence holding up the book to camera, and it's not just on YouTube. There might be like other places online that I see books that I want to read. So I take a screenshot, and then every month or so I'll clear out my phone, make a list of the books, delete the pictures to make space for more pictures. So I had to look to see whose picture featured the most on my phone. And there was 3 booktubers that I had more pictures of than anyone else. First was Bob the Booker, of course. And I think that's because Bob is so enthusiastic about the books that he reads. He's so passionate, and he just makes me want to read all the books that he talks about. It's like some weird magic spell that he has that he puts on you. The second booktuber was Jen the Librarian. So Jen's channel I discovered relatively recently. In the last few months I've been watching a lot of her backlisted videos. She reads a lot of LGBTQ books, so I've been getting loads of great recommendations from her. Then the final channel is Willow over at Books and Bow, and they, again, another relatively new to me channel. They read a lot of translated fiction, and in particular a lot of Japanese fiction. So again, I've been getting lots of great recommendations from them. In terms of what makes their reviews so good, I think they are all in their own way so eloquent in how they talk about books, in a way that I, aspire to be like that. I wish I were. And they are all very, very engaging in their manner as well. So I think there's 2 things with booktubers, why I subscribe to the people I subscribe to. The first is, to a certain extent, I think our tastes have to overlap. So, and in some cases it could be fairly minimal actually, but there's got to be some level of overlap, I think, in the books that we read. But the second thing, which I think is even more important, is I've just got to enjoy, watching them talk about books. And I sort of think of it like, what can I say? It's almost like the booktubers that I subscribe to are the people who I'd like to be friends with in real life, because, you don't have to have exactly the same tastes as your real life friends, do you? Your friends are just people that you want to spend time with, and booktube is kind of the same thing, I think. But yeah, those booktubers do great reviews. I want to read all the books they talk about, basically. And I've got loads of pictures of them on my phone, if that's not weird. So yeah, on that note, that's the end of the tag. So thank you to Scott and Nell over at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot for this great tag. I've really enjoyed doing this one. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again very soon. Bye.